What's up guys, how are you guys doing? In this video we're gonna be continuing doing our character guide, and in this video, as you guys can see on the screen, we're gonna be talking about Muriel. Okay, I did get her to 3-star, plus 3 dupes and stuff like that, so I figure I build her, so we're gonna talk about that, right? So because since I build her, we might as well talk about her and her kit and everything else, right? So yeah, let's get to the game right here. So Muriel is this chick right here, of course. She's actually like a very strong DPS character, which is crazy. And she also does apply like a lot of debuffs and stuff like that, which is pretty cool as well. But yeah, let's talk about her kit, and we're gonna talk about what she is able to do and what kind of gear you guys want on her and stuff like that, right? So as always, we're gonna talk about her resonance first, right? Her resonance, if you get at 6, you're gonna get a sense of attack right here from the journey, and you could also get the 4% increase on her HP, which is pretty good. And then if you go to all the way to 10, you could get this focus right here, which increases your effective hit chance, and then you also get more effective chance, right, because of her debuffs, right, she can apply, right? So that is her resonance. Let's talk about her kit. We're gonna talk about her passive. I have her passive at max, but we're gonna talk about the 0 dupe, and then we're gonna talk about max dupe, right? So at 0 dupe, her passive just gives her crit damage, which is pretty cool, but at max dupe, it gives her her crit damage increases to 25, right, from 15, and then it also grants Muriel 1 stack of ignition with 100% chance with a Sun attribute ally, excluding self attacks, right? Excluding self attacks, right? So yeah, so whenever a Sun attribute ally attacks, she actually gonna get ignition with 100% chance, right? Which is pretty simple. So ideally you want to use her with a full mono Sun team, so you could actually get those ignition, right? But most people, they don't use mono teams, so this passive is not that good, to be honest. Yeah, because she can't give herself ignition. An ally have to actually attack in order for her to get this 100% ignition stack thing right here, okay? Because it will excluding herself, right? So yeah, which is yeah, not so good passive unless you are using it with a full AoE, not a full Sun attribute team, okay? Anyways, let's talk about her basic attack right here. Her basic attack is sends Holy Flame to attack the enemy, grants self 1 stack of ignition, which is pretty simple, right? And then yeah, when you Nova Burst, it will do self toughness fixed damage temporary increase by 1, which is pretty good. And yeah, ignition you guys already know, right? Pretty simple passive right here. I mean, skill 1 effect right there. And then we got her skill right here. Let's talk about her skill. So what her skill does is a holy bombardment. Throw stolen holy water as the enemy, deals 3% increased damage for each debuff on the enemy, right? Just because of this, you actually also want to use it with a full debuff team, okay? So because yeah, she will do increased damage based on the amount of debuff everyone have, right? So if you have a full debuff team and all of them apply a debuff, yeah, this thing gonna hit really hard as well, right? Because for each debuff, she's gonna get a 3% increase in damage, right? Of course, as you level up, this should increase as well, right? If I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, it does increase. Only the chance increase actually, which is interesting. And the second part is extends all of the enemies debuffs by 1 turn with 85% chance, right? With a I don't know why they include a there. That doesn't make sense, right? With 85% chance, right? But yeah, so a two-parter skill right here. One is does damage based on the amount of debuff the enemy have, and the second one extends the debuff on the enemy, which is pretty good, right? So if the debuff only lasts like 1 turn, you use a skill, that debuff gonna be lasting 2 turns now, which is pretty good, right? That's a very good skill right here with a full debuff team. And then you have the Nova Burst, which is self toughness fixed damage temporary increase by 1 on attack. Her kit is pretty simple, right? And then we have her ultimate. This thing is disgusting when it lands, bro. This thing hits so hard, bro. This guy is actually ridiculous. Okay, so okay, now her ultimate is the divine punishment meant for Muriel engulfs all enemies instead, right? Inflict all enemies with attack down, which is really good for 2 turns with a 60% chance, right? Yeah, she definitely needs a lot of effective chance so she can land all of her debuffs right here. And then the second part is inflict all enemies with a burn for 2 turns with 100% chance if ignition is at max stack. This is really good, right? That burn right here, this lasts 2 turns, and then you use this right here, right? The second skill, and this will be lasting 3 turns, right? So you'll be able to extend the burn debuff and also the attack down debuff with her second skill. So very, very nice effect right here. Of course, burn is it does damage over time, right? Every turn, right? Takes burn damage proportional to the caster attack at the casters at the start of the turn, right? So every time the enemy turn starts, they're going to be taking the burn damage right here, right? And then of course the attack down, which is a 30% attack down, and this AoE skill, right? It's very, very good right here. And then when you Nova Burst it, temporarily deals one more toughness fixed damage and increase the chance of inflicting attack down by 100% right here. Without the Nova Burst, it's only 60%, but you include the Nova Burst and it's going to be 100%, right? Very, very good skill. And yeah, she's definitely really good with a full debuff team, okay? That's how you want to use her if you don't want to use her with a full mono team. You ideally want to use the ultimate when she have max stack of ignition, but since you want to extend her debuffs with the second skill, I think you can start with her ultimate and then extend the debuffs with the skill, so that way you know, the enemy takes more damage as well, right? So very, very cool, right? You can use her, you can use the ultimate at the beginning, or you can use the ultimate once you have max ignition stacks right here, okay? So yeah, very, very simple kid, and yeah, she's very, very strong, guys. Okay, she's very, very strong. And now let's talk about her kit. So I mean her gears right here. So gear wise, I went with this right here with effective chance and crit damage. I mean crit rate right here. Since she can't give herself a lot of crit damage, she actually gonna prefer having a crit rate chance right here. So this is a gear you guys can run on her, but I personally, right, I like running something like this, right? With this gear right here, right? With a crit rate and effective chance. And then you add that with this gear right here, the 2 Valor set. Because the reason I like the two Valor set on any DPS is because this one effective chance doesn't really increase your damage, but this one right here, right? If you use a Valor set, you actually gonna get the 5% increase on attack right here, okay? And you also get effective resistance, so very, very good right here. So I personally like those two, right? For 4-piece, I like the precision set and then the 2-set Valor set, but for now I'm just rocking the effective chance and then the crit rate one. Also works as well. Very, very good gear. I think those are the base gear for her, to be honest, because yeah, she wants to land her debuff, so she definitely needs a lot of effective chance, right? So yeah, any of those 2-set works. For the necklace, when it comes to necklace, I ideally like having speed on her so that she could apply her debuffs, but also, but if you want to use her before, after her allies like goes, right? So let's say you have a full debuff team, right? If you want her to go after your the allies, right? Apply all the debuffs, so you could actually increase the damage of the skill right here, right? You kind of want to build her slow right here, okay? Because this thing does damage based on the amount of debuff on the enemy, right? But if you just want her to land the attack down and then that burn right away, then yeah, you could build her with speed. I think speed is pretty good, but ideally you could go with a crit damage right here, okay? Crit damage, crit rate sub status works fine. I would not recommend crit rate. I think you want crit damage on this, you want speed or crit damage on this one, okay? So that way she could do a lot more damage, right? And then you have this one. I like attack, right? Do not use effective chance on this one, right? It's not necessary, right? Don't use something like this. You want to use you know, attack on here, so she could actually do a lot more damage as well, right? So yeah, very, 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 very simple build right here. I think most DPS characters, they have like similar builds, right? And for substats, you want something like this, right? Or you want something like, let me show you guys if I have a good substats one right here. I think this one's pretty good, right? Instead of the, see, you have all the stuff she needs, right? We have attack, which is pretty good. Speed is pretty good on her. Crit rate is also really good. Effective chance is really good. You could substitute the speed with a crit damage if you guys want, but yeah, she needs a lot of like crit damage, crit rate, right? But yeah, so you could do something like this, but I don't like the flat HP and defense on this one. You know what I'm saying? I ideally would want to have like, you know what I'm saying, attack or attack and effective chance, or attack and speed, or effective chance and speed, right? So and the crit rate, crit damage stays, right? So you want those for sub status. I think for team, one team you guys can make for her is actually pretty good, simple, right? You guys can go with a full DPS debuff team right here. So something like this works really well, right? You have Lydia, I mean, yeah, this chick right here, right? You guys know how she works, right? She could apply AoE effect resistance down on the enemy, so it's very, very good with any debuffer, right? And she also have more debuffs on here with speed down, right? Very, very good. You also have like somebody like Luna, who's also really good as well, right? If you want a second DPS on here, right? She also have bind right here, which you know, damage taken from all target attack increased by 20%, right? That is an amazing debuff. You could apply on the enemy, right? And this thing is AoE, so whenever Muriel attacks, Muriel gonna be hitting like a truck because of this as well. And then she also have you know, the crit rate buff for herself, right? And yeah, Luna is also a really decent character to use with her. And I used this chick right here, right? Because I like the synergy between Elisa and Lydia. Those two work really nicely as well. She doesn't have any debuff, but she's your main like healer unit right here, and she works really well with Lydia. So this is a full debuff team you guys can make with Muriel. You could also make like just a full, you know what I'm saying, sun attribute. Yeah, so you could do something like this as well, right? The full mono team. She's actually, Scarlet is really good actually, because she also have debuffs on her skill, right? She have AoE. She have a single target speed down debuff right here, and she have AoE, you know, recovery down on the enemy as well. So another debuff you guys can use for a mono team right here. So you could do something like this. Of course, you got Charlotte right here, right? To here, who's here to like buff things, and she also can apply attack down debuff as well. So yeah, very cool. So you could use a mono team with her, or you can use a full debuff team to make her work a lot better, right? Yeah, you could use that in other places if you guys, you know, don't care about applying the debuffs and you just want to use her as the main DPS. You guys can use her with a lot of different characters, but I think the best use for her is with a full, you know what I'm saying, debuff team and stuff like that, right? So yeah, that's Muriel for you guys. She's very cool, man. So far I've been using her quite a lot, and she's just, yeah, she's so strong, man. She's so strong. I like how she works, and she's the only character who actually extends debuff and does damage based on the amount of debuff on the enemy, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, right? Of course, I have her affinity 20. I could go up even more, right? She's at 27,000 at the moment, and yeah, Master's looking good as well, right? As you guys can see, right? So yeah, Muriel is very good. Let me know if you guys actually use this Muriel. Hey, let me know what you guys think about her. She's very one of the good units you could get from standard pool, and I think she's definitely a priority when it comes to the standard mileage usage. Yes, can definitely pick her up and dupe her out, right? Very good, right? Even though her passive is not that good, right? That's a very specific passive she have right here, but still very strong character, right? Anyways, thank you for watching, guys, and of course don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye bye, guys.